In this sixth installment of Panic, we find Johnny encountering the ups and downs of freshman life at his dream school, NYU, having passed on Harvard, Yale, Princeton, and other Ivies that had accepted him. A disastrous get-up appearance at a Halloween costume party sends him reeling, mentally and physically, and his spirits lie in the gutter.
Nobody cares enough if you sleep at all ever again. And nobody sees enough when you post I'm imposing. How can you stand to be known, for too long, for too long, without it? And I hit the wall hard enough to make noise, but you're faster. I watch it when I can. How can you stand to be on for too long, for too long? How can you stand to keep on when the world wears out and it's bigger than you can imagine? I wanna get lost in a hotel skyline, steal some air from that height, away from anyone. From anyone. 'Cause the louder I feel, the less I move, and I can sit here if it's all I do. Yeah. For too long, for too long, for too long.
He was scared, more than at any time in his life. He felt nauseous. His legs turned into rubber, his torso shook and his eyes welled up, adding to the freakiness of his entire getup. A voice inside said,
"You're really losing it. Get your shit together."
He managed to summon whatever power of concentration he had left, and called Roberto.
"Roberto? Hey, it's me, John. I'm having some kind of episode. Not a seizure, but something. I'm pretty messed up. Hey, can you come get me?"
Yeah, man, of course. Where are you? I'm up in Harlem, but I could get my uncle's car and drive down. Did you call 911?
"No, not that kind of thing. Just hurry, okay? I'm outside the flower shop near the apartment."
I'm on the way. Hang tight.
Roberto was pretty freaked out when he saw his friend curled up on the sidewalk next to the store. A few people stared from a distance. None of them offered assistance.
Dude, what happened to you?
He asked, lifting John up, with his shoulder as support, and walking him to the car.
I don't know. Something seems to go off in my brain and makes me totally useless. I become this numb, shaking blob. I get in this weird unreality feeling for like 10 minutes.
That's screwed up. You should get checked out. How often does it happen?
Roberto asked, genuinely concerned about his friend, as he navigated back to their apartment building.
It happened kinda like this, a little over a year ago. Didn't think it would come back with a vengeance. Wow, this kicked my butt. And to top it off, an old lady with her sniffy poodle came up to me and said, "Young man, are you having an epileptic fit?" I said, "No, but thank you," and just told her I'd had way too much to drink.
Roberto laughed.
So, did you have too much to drink?
"No, just a Coke."
When they got to their building, Roberto guided John into the apartment and had him chill on the couch. He pulled a joint out of his pocket.
Here, dude, smoke this. It's good weed from the Jamaican guy on the square with the long dreads and the guitar. Drop a few bucks in his case and he hands you a dime bag with a handshake. Go on, take a hit. Bud's gonna make you chill, glide. Okay, cool.
John had no clue about his friend's street talk. He took the lit joint and inhaled and coughed up a storm. After a few minutes, he felt a calm, buzzy sensation, yet wasn't sure where it would go. Nah, he was lightheaded enough.
Don't need this grass. For now, at least.
He thought,
Thanks, dude. You were great. I don't know how I would have made it home without you. Just gonna crash for now.
Hey, no problem, bro. Just call me or knock on the door down the hall if you need anything, okay? Like anytime.
the pot did have a calming effect. He felt he could breathe again, and the heavy oppressive feeling lifted. His stomach growled, the munchies. But after an hour or so, the marijuana high wore off, and the intense fearfulness and a racing heartbeat returned. Sprawled on the leather couch, he found himself staring up at the skylight, a blank stare that fixed on a fly inching along the glass. Eventually, drained to the core, he fell asleep. When he awoke, he felt he had to get medical attention, to find out what the hell was wrong with him. What was it that would immobilize, indeed, derail him like last night? He forced himself out of bed. Moving like an old man, step by careful step, he managed to shuffle over to the university clinic, a nondescript annex chiefly frequented by students worried that they'd come into the STD du jour. The nurse politely asked him behind closed doors.
"What brings you here today?"
He smiled faintly.
My head.
She looked at his crotch, thinking he was referring to his private part.
No, not that.
He laughed, and she laughed too.
"We get so many of those cases. You have no idea."
When John explained what had happened, she said that he was probably overtired and his emotions had shifted into overdrive. They, she said, likely had a knock-on effect that made his legs go wobbly. She examined him, checking his blood pressure, temperature, and breathing.
"You sound clean as a whistle."
The nurse said,
"Yup, you check out just fine. So go back to your room, take a few of these Tylenols, and you should be good to go. Probably just a little stress-related fatigue."
John followed her RX. He dutifully lay down on the couch in his place after swallowing 3 Tylenols. Although groggy, he was able to read some of his material for American Lit before falling into a deep sleep. When he awoke, a strange feeling of dread gripped him. Memories of the Halloween disaster flashed in his mind. He felt lightheaded and dizzy. He was supposed to get to class in 10 minutes, yet he couldn't move. He was glued to the couch. The mere thought of mingling with other students caused him to experience vertigo. There was no way in hell he was going back out there. He couldn't stand the thought of being in crowded, confined areas or, for that matter, anywhere from which he couldn't exit quickly, and in that very moment, of knowing that avoidance was the only course of action, the race to the bottom began. It would bring him down to the smelly basement of human existence, an unkempt, fragile human frame stuck inside 4 walls that, with days turning into weeks of self-imposed solitary confinement, would reek of piled-up garbage, unwashed laundry, and the overpowering miasma of the immobilized undead.
In a convalescent vacancy, and you dissolute, removed from such elusive words. I'm divorcing you from me, swinging spade tips where the wood splits near the earth. You don't have to ride at a painful distance. I can't move for these the wandering dunes to kicking rocks in deep soliloquy in a forest without leaves. You don't have to run in fear. I can't breathe. They're choking me. beneath your weight. Between yours and vacancy.
At the beginning of John's withdrawal, Roberta would knock, check in, offer to go buy groceries and help out in general. He'd bring back smoothies, fruit drinks, energy bars, stuff not on the list and bought on his own dime. He'd sit quietly next to his friend, a look of genuine concern in his eyes.
I'm really worried about you, man.
John would look back at him in silence, grateful for his non-judgmental hallmate, but not knowing what to say. Roberta would grab his hand.
Hey, it's all right, dude. I have no idea what this must feel like. Just be strong. You'll get through this.
But, after a couple of weeks had passed, Roberto realized John was not doing anything to help himself shake what had befallen him.
Loco,
he would mutter to himself, quietly closing his neighbor's door behind him. Out of a sense of pride, and perhaps out of a powerful desire to suffer in silence, John could not bring himself to call his parents or anyone for help. His once wavy hair had become flat, oily, matted. His once clean complexion was now pocked with various discolorations and moguls. His formerly sturdy frame was now scrawny and sinewy. He saw all this in fully repulsive glory, but others could not as he stayed behind closed doors. He could take it all in via the body-length mirror in the bathroom, where he would retreat and, on really bad nights, sleep with a sheet covering himself in the bathtub. When he couldn't sleep, he would watch the small but growing army of cockroaches crawling along the streaked bathroom tiles. They, together, were the great unwashed in his little enclosed, private universe. He felt utterly alone, in city of more than 8 million inhabitants. All eating, sleeping, drinking, fornicating, working, studying, playing, praying, dying, being born at any given moment, right outside the thick brick walls of his apartment. Yet he knew he was not in prison. He was free to move about and mingle among the kinetic multitudes. But he was very much a prisoner, one of his own making. He could not venture outside the four walls for the simple, self-acknowledged reason that merely thinking about being in public freaked him out in a self-perpetuating cycle. Fear breed fear, leading him to stay in a known, safe place and avoid the mad crush with its endless judging eyes. Agoraphobia. He had heard about it somewhere, probably watching some reality TV show. Now it was on him like a noose, a coarse, vicious rope, tightening mercilessly around his neck. As Christmas approached, he began to get calls from his folks about when he was planning to come home for their annual family bash. Those calls were the absolute worst, because he had to muster all his strength to simply talk and then to fake the emotional intonations and appropriate responses.
Yeah, I'm good. Looking forward to the holidays.
Inevitably, his mother would pick up on something in his voice and ask,
"You sure? You sound a little down."
but he would deflect and always end the call on a faux light note. Afterward, he would break down, and the tears would gather like eddy pools in his beard. Those brief moments of emotional catharsis felt good. But, as they passed, his body would shake in a cold sweat as he looked out his splotchy windows with resignation. At times, perhaps triggered by viewing a young couple having a late-night romantic interlude on the stoop, he would feel suffocation coming on and would pull the curtains shut. It was on those nights that he somehow wished he would wake up gone, not of this earth. He was afraid he was completely losing his mind, and that, of course, only made the situation worse. The cortisol, already in overflow mode, would race through his system and leave him feeling exhausted, to the point of collapse, his brain hot with inflammation.
Please, God, stop this.
He would whisper into his pillow before passing into a Tylenol-fueled slumber. A raw winter wind blowing outside. Deep in his heart, John longed to be with someone with whom he felt safe, but there was no one, and to cap it off, he felt continually unsafe without there being any real, immediate danger. It was all in his head, yeah, as he'd heard his dad say more than once. It was, in fact, all in the future. His inner alarm system was firing at the wrong time, keeping him in an immobilizing, perpetual state of alert. There was no pre-wired flight-or-fight response. There was just a lot of sitting around, staring at walls and ceilings in breathless, tormented suffering, for far too long. Some nights, when the swells of panic crashed against the slippery deck of his psyche, were sweat-soaked and sleepless. They came and went in a bleary-eyed blur, with clenched jaws and grinding teeth. When the frantic dread got too intense, he would sometimes hoist himself up the fire escape ladder and climb to the roof. There, he would lie next to the droning air ventilation units, curled up in a fetal position until it got too cold or wet, and he would have to retreat back inside.
With your big mouth and teeth, you've mowed down the dream. Gonna swallow the lane with you leave. Yeah, well, if we look the same, it's 'cause we're both in chains from our eyes under glass insane. So please, if something starts to happen, fill your lungs and try to breathe. You're too close. If something's going to happen to this world, then so what the hell do we do now with our CO2 in the hollow ground? 'Cause my hands can't hold it all, and I'll atrophy with these extra pounds. So please, if something starts to happen, fill your lungs and try to breathe. You're too late if something's going to happen to me. If we are not this straight, then tore the earth and filled the lake. If we are not this straight, then this is it. Then this is it.
It was on one of those really bad nights in lockdown mode, while eating the last remaining morsels of thawed frozen food and his last jar of peanut butter, that a soft knock came from the hallway. He crawled on his stomach down the hall and pulled himself up by the handle.
Who is it?
A friend?
A gentle female voice answered. When he opened the door, he could see it was Christine. Her hand covered half her face, her mouth and nose to be exact. She looked pale, as if she was about to be sick.
What happened to you? Oh my God!
She began to scream, in a frantic, worried way.
Oh my God, this cannot be happening.
She held John's emaciated body in a nurse-like embrace. He wept uncontrollably in her arms. And then he passed out. When he woke the next morning, it took a few moments for John to filter that he was looking up into Christine's eyes. She had slept next to him, on the floor, propping a pillow under his head and covering his frail frame with a blanket.
Pinch me.
He whispered to her in a weak voice.
Am I here or in heaven?
She smiled at him, a big beaming smile, and squeezed his hand.
How did you find me? I mean, why are you here, in this wormhole of mine?
He whispered. She paused and shushed him, her finger pressed against his lips. She told him how she had run him down by talking to some of her friends from high school who said he'd enrolled at NYU. After a long pause, she leaned in.
Remember the time we met for coffee near the Met? Well, I wanted to share something with you then, something very personal, but I didn't. It had to do with something I went through a long time ago, something that changed my life. It had to do with getting help, professional help, after trauma. But I didn't bring it up because, well, I felt you had gone through something traumatic, and I wasn't sure what I had to say would matter.
Tell me,
He said, squeezing her hand tenderly.
Each situation is different, and, we didn't know each other that well then, but now I'm sure it's something I want to share with you.
Yes, do. I want to hear, whatever it is.
Okay, I haven't told people outside of my family.
She began, taking a deep breath and looking up at the whirling ceiling fan.
My parents took me on vacation overseas in my freshman year in high school, 6 years ago. I was loving every moment. There I was, in the south of France, basking in the hot Mediterranean sun poolside at our hotel one day. My parents came over and said they would be just round the corner, enjoying a few cocktails at sunset, and for me to wait for them to return. I got up to go to the ladies' room.
She paused, cupping her tear-streaked face in her hands.
Hey, it's okay. You don't need to go on.
No, I do. And that's when the two bastards grabbed me, right outside the gated area. They dragged me inside the men's room and barred the door. I screamed, but no one could hear outside the thick walls. My mom and dad found me there later, bleeding, and called for help. And I just remember all kinds of police and emergency types putting me on stretcher and whisking me off to the hospital. They never found them, and after that, I've never found my old happy self, no matter how hard I try.
Whoa, I'm sorry. God, so damn sorry. That's horrible.
He hugged her tight.
I'm sharing this because I learned it takes work. Serious, serious work with trained professionals to get over the pain, to get past the dark, the crippling anxiety.
She said, staring intently into his eyes.
And not just with any dial-a-shrink professional. No, it has to be someone who gets you, who's wise, caring, and truly in touch with raw human emotion and the human psyche. I know someone.
John nodded, as he gripped her hand with a look of expectation.
I hear you, but nothing like that happened to me, Christine. Nobody attacked me. What the hell? Nobody sexually assaulted me. I just freaked out taking my stupid SAT and then body slammed into a speeding BMW a few minutes later.
Don't be too hard on yourself. Seriously, take a moment to just chill, pull back, and try to put it into perspective.
She reassured. He bowed his head. His eyes welled up and his body shook, as the angst he had been carrying in his chest oozed out.
Anxiety is real, John. My doctor said there are 2 kinds of anxiety. One is a bit of an issue, but not too big a deal. It's when we panic and get excessively worked up over shit when there's really nothing or very little to be anxious about. This messes up our ability to function. The other kind is just the normal, everyday, rational reaction to stressful events that can come rapid fire and knock the crap out of you. Hey, we all feel super anxious at times, discombobulated.
But I feel it all the time. It's killing me.
He said, his voice hoarse.
So, it's going to take a little while to figure out what's going on, to get off the treadmill and back to that true self. To this day, when I'm on stage at Juilliard and supposed to be focused on my routine, I sometimes freeze, stiff as a cadaver, when I see a shadow behind the curtains.
Wow, that's heavy. But hey, I get it. I call mine the beast. God, I just want to feel normal. I hate this thing. It comes on like a monster tsunami. Dizziness, confusion, and then a kind of morbid dread. It's pretty messed up. There are times I don't want to wake up, when it has me in its clutches. Sometimes I feel like I don't exist, lying there, hyperventilating.
Every chemical bound in visceral restraint, turning knobs and going off. I run my hands along the wall. Every syllable like braille, every consonant, it breaks the skin beneath my nails. Building like an animal, building like an animal, infected little mind. The mouthing on from our ticking clocks. Push the awkward pause. The start and stop. The start. How do you hold it all in your hand without closing them, without closing facing them. How do you hold it all in your hand? In your hand. In your hands. Building like an idiot. Building like an idiot. Turning knobs and going off.
He could feel her tears bouncing off his forehead as he spoke.
You have to be focused. You have to want to fight and win. You can conquer this.
She whispered, kissing his forehead and giving him a long, eye-to-eye look of reassurance. He nodded.
You think? Really?
Really, this thing passes. It will fade. But like I said, you are going to need a therapist who knows how to get you back on track. And you're gonna need your family and friends. You gotta stay connected. And you gotta laugh. Laugh at life, at yourself, and all the crazy shit that happens.
She hugged him. And suddenly, for John, nothing else mattered as she left that night. That miraculous encounter with Christine, that sweet, unexpected guardian angel who'd come knocking at his door, gave John a new lease on life. He felt energized with a sense of conviction that he was, in fact, connected to humanity, to the loud infernal buzz and blare outside his windows. He felt hungry. He felt more clear-headed than he had in weeks. He picked up his guitar and banged out a few chords. He felt alive, again. Finally, Christine had given him her number as well as that of her psychotherapist, Dr. David Greenberg. She had said, in a follow-up voicemail, that the doc was
The most awesome of awesome. A great healer, humanist, and very funny guy to boot.
Electric acid.